Good afternoon, everyone. This is Christian with PerfectStockAlert.com, a 100% free service for smart investors and traders. All we ask in return is please refer a friend, or I'll hit you in the face with a brick. What? I can't say that? Today we're going to be talking about support and resistance lines, or support and resistance. Every chart that you will ever look at is chart of price is driven by supply and demand. Supply being sell pressure and demand being buy pressure. Price activity will continue moving higher as long as buy pressure is greater than sell pressure, and it will continue moving lower as long as sell pressure is greater than buy pressure. Let me show you an example here. Let me get the tools. All right, here you have Wells Fargo chart, and you've got a nice sell-off at this point. You've got really good selling going on here because selling is greater than buy pressure, or supply is greater than demand. And you can notice this on many different indicators that would confirm that, such as volume and on balance volume and things of that nature. But you can also just see it on the chart here. You've got this major sell-off because the pressure of selling is greater than the buy pressure. However, at some point you're going to get an underlying bid. You're going to get a point where investors or traders believe that this is a good place to buy, and at that point buy pressure supersedes sell pressure and the selling will just stop cold. That's it. Once that stop has happened, people like to mark it on the chart. They like to know the psychology of investors or traders at that moment in time, where they believe that you've got a good strong support or buy pressure under the stock price. That gives you an idea of a place that you may also want to be buying, or something of that nature. You can also find it at resistance levels where you've got a nice move to the upside and then it just stops. It stops because the buy pressure is no longer stronger than the sell pressure, and that sell pressure is something that investors and traders would like to keep note of as well, and they'd like to know where the selling is happening at. Now, whenever we're talking about support and resistance lines, we're talking about this line here, this red line here, or this blue line here. We have to have at least 2 points on the chart to draw that support and resistance line. Now, a support and resistance line is much like a trend line, the only difference being that a support and resistance line is horizontal. It doesn't trend up or down. It doesn't have a positive slope or a negative slope. It is just flat, horizontal. As I said, regardless whether you're drawing a support line or resistance line, you must have at least 2 points, either 2 low points or 2 high points, to actually connect the dots and draw that line. So let me show you what we did here. Here you've got a sell-off, move up here, reaction high, pull back down to test that previous low, and moves up again, pulls back down. All right, here and here again, and then we broke out. Now, the thing that I want you to note about this is you got a low point of 22.47, 22.53, 22.89, 22.59, 22.50. None of these prices are exactly equal. They can be, but they will be very rare that you ever see 2 low points to the penny. So the art here is to simply draw the line where you see that support line at. Some guys, because there's some variation in price, what they will do, instead of drawing a trend line, is they'll do a support or resistance line. What they will do is do a support or resistance zone. Think of that as more of a box shape. So you've got kind of a little formation like this going on. Let me clean that up. Okay, instead of drawing a straight line like this across those low points, they would actually do a box shape to give them a better idea of whereabout support is located. All right, and you can see by using that method, you caught all of them. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay. The same applies for resistance level. You got to have at least 2 points to draw that resistance line, and then again, you could also use a resistance zone as opposed to just the line. It'll be more apt to catch all of the different points that you're bouncing off of there. It should be noted that though you need 2 points to draw your support or resistance line, the more times or the more points you have where prices pull back and hit the support line or jumped up and tagged the resistance line, the stronger it becomes. So in this particular case down here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different times. That's a very strong support. It would be stronger than something that had only been touched twice. This is also true for time duration. For example, if you had a support line that had been touched 3 times over the course of maybe 3 weeks versus 3 times over the course of 3 years, the longer term support line would be considered stronger than the shorter term. In order for a support or resistance line to be broken, price must move beyond the line in the sand, so to speak. And there is some variation depending on the trader you're dealing with. Some will require that price activity, let me get the right tool, price activity will move above that line and close above that line. That should be a minimum requirement. And then there are those who require it to do so by a certain amount, maybe 3%, maybe 5%, or close above it for a period of time, such as 2 days, 3 days, something of that nature. Once you have what's known as a breakout, where price has advanced beyond a set resistance line in this case, a lot of investors and traders will start doing their buying at the moment of that breakout. The same happens for a support line when it's broken. If you have a support line here that all of a sudden breaks down, and you get a close below that support, then a lot of the traders would jump on board as shorting the stock in this particular case. It should also be noted that once a support line has broken, it would tend to turn into a resistance line. That just is how it works. So when you've got your support line back here and it broke down here, it was quite common to see that price actually came up to that level again to test it, and what did it find? Resistance there once and twice, and finally broke through it here. Please take a moment to review our disclaimer. The information provided herein is our opinion only. Under no circumstances do any statements here represent a recommendation to buy or sell securities or make any kind of an investment. You are responsible for your own due diligence. To summarize, we do not provide investment advice, nor do we make any claims or promises that any information here will lead to a profit, loss, or any other result. These videos are for educational purposes only.